So
I guess the money ran out. She wants more.
that's what I'm saying. There's something that made me think of, you just reminded me, because you talked about on your last episode of your podcast, was the 1999 shootout with Shyne, Puffy, some guy named Scar.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your thoughts on something real quick. The victim in that case, I forget her name. She was a female victim.
That girl, same story. She knew who shot her. She's been saying it for years, right?
Well, here's one thing. I'm a journalist. I consider myself somewhat of a journalist. Not the best one guy out here, but nonetheless, I do my research, I do my homework. And according to news outlets, multiple news outlets around that time, on the internet, articles that were being printed, she said on the stand, when asked, "Do you know who shot you?" She says, "No, I don't know who shot me."
Yeah, well, I would have to defer to Joe Sweeney, who I had on my show, who was the lead investigator on that. But it was my understanding that, they had bribed several people during that case. So I don't know if she was one of them. I don't think she was. I think at one point maybe they gave her some cash or something like that. But I do think that she's telling the truth.
Yeah, she wanted. Well, it's kind of difficult when she says one thing and then on the stand she says another thing, because that's just my opinion. She had gotten paid out by Puffy because of the lawsuit back in, I want to say 2011. Mm-hmm. So
I guess the money ran out. She wants more.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little difficult when you have the chance to put him in jail. You get on the stand. You say no. You don't know who shot you.
Here's the thing.
It's a little.
Anybody that tells you they know the absolute truth are lying. There's always something lurking in the background. No story is 100% the truth. People leave out details by accident, or they embellish, or whatever. So if you're a good investigator, you'll always take that into consideration. And like cooperators, you always got to watch with cooperators. And people you think are helping you are not being truthful. But do I think Puffy had a gun? Yeah, without a doubt. That whole story about the girl falling on Puffy, the security guard, and she fell on him and didn't feel a weapon. I mean, how stupid is that?
That sounds like she was the most damaging witness in that trial.
Yeah, and she's full of shit. You know what I mean?
And supposedly Shyne had mentioned that, they had calls of, there's calls of Puffy's people reaching out to her, trying to bribe her. Again,
that's what happened. I mean, look, I have no doubt that that's what happened.
Okay, so let's say it did happen. There's nothing that can be done now, right? You can't retry it, right? Double jeopardy.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's done. Well, you could do one of like the feds thing with violation of civil rights. That's a big way to charge.
Really?
Yeah, there's different things you can do.
Explain that. What do you mean?
Well, it's like whenever a cop beats a state charge, like a brutality case, if you say they violated your civil rights or they did something along the lines, there's different kinds of federal rules that you can use to like charge them on some fugazi federal charge and all that. So not exactly maybe that charge, but something close enough to it. But it's over. It's nothing. Right. Nothing's going to happen. It's done, and it's just crazy that we're still talking about this shit that people didn't get convicted that deserved it.
Right. And here's the thing. The only way I think it's going to be used in his federal trial coming up. Not federal trial. He hasn't been indicted or arrested. But at the time of this recording, we don't know. He hasn't been indicted or arrested. But they'll bring it up and be like, "Oh, he has a history of violence." That's the only reason. I mean, that's the only way I see that will be brought up with the feds, right?
I don't look. A year ago, the mayor of New York gave Puffy the key to the city, and then this came out. You know what I mean? But
they took it back.
His popularity was waning anyway. I don't know, and I heard that he had a lot of problems with some of his business ventures because he wasn't. He doesn't have the same popularity and all that now, but he's just a despicable character. He always has been, but it's just typical that the press always kind of, saved his ass. And, like you were talking about the press that wrote these articles, I'd love to know where they got their information from too, because don't forget there are people that, will do favors and write articles in your favor because they're a friend or because they want to gain favor of you, whatever. Right. So
supposedly they were in the courtroom.
But do you notice one thing with all these stories we talk about is all these people are banged up. Like, there's something wrong with all of them. The things they get themselves involved in, it's senseless violence, ridiculous, like, ways of protecting yourself. And, Puffy could have got legitimate bodyguards.
Right.
And nobody would have said a word. Hey,
We didn't have we wouldn't have the Gene deals. that we
I'm not a
have.
gangster anymore, or I'm a legit guy, and I have paid former members of law enforcement or guys who have actual pistol permits watching me, not some idiot like Gene Deal.
Right. Fuck,
I can't even listen to the way he talks. It's disturbing.
It is disturbing.